Hi everyone. What do you do to recover from a bad night of sleep? Have you ever had one? I'm sure you have, right? A bad night of sleep is inevitable, right? Because good sleep, it doesn't mean that you just have this perfect 8 hours of high quality sleep every single night. Absolutely not. Listen, I am a sleep doctor. First of all, I struggled with insomnia anyway, and I also had sleep deprivation. So I know what bad night of sleep is. And even after getting through that, even as an individual, as a physician, as a mom, as someone who's doing quite a number of things, of course, there will be nights that you don't sleep well. Like it just happens and it's completely normal. It's absolutely expected. It gets worse if you're going through a lot of stress. Of course, if you have insomnia, then it's not just one bad night of sleep, right? It becomes this habit loop. But that's not what we're talking about today. Today, we're really just going to be focusing on how we can recover after a bad night of sleep. Many times, the tendency might be to want to sort of stay in bed, conserve your energy, not do too many things because, after all, you had a bad night of sleep. But it turns out that actually makes you more fatigued. It makes your sleep worse even for the next night. So I'm going to be sharing some tips, practical tips about how we could get you the energy you need even after you've had poor sleep. And so I am Dr. Funke Afolabi Brown. I am the founder of Restful Sleep MD, and I help busy moms and their children change their relationship with sleep so they can thrive and live a life to their fullest potential. So if you are new, I want you to subscribe. I want you to hit the subscription button. I want you to like this video so that we can help get that word out there. Now, talking about what we need to do after a bad night of sleep. Number one is something that I tend to see people fall into a lot, which is that needing to stay in bed for longer. So number one is actually resist the urge to oversleep, right? You may feel tempted to hit the snooze button, especially if you've been up for most of the night. And then as morning is rolling in, you suddenly start to realize, oh, now I'm falling asleep. I'm just going to hit that snooze button. I'm just going to continue sleeping. No, 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 no. Don't do that. I know it's tempting. I know you feel tired. But what that ends up doing is that it makes it harder for you to fall asleep the next night because you then are sort of moving your schedule to later. So it may be hard for you to fall asleep at the right time. So try to avoid that. Number two is stay hydrated. It turns out that when you feel dehydrated, you feel more fatigued. And so that feeling you have of just exhaustion seems worse when you're dehydrated. So make sure you drink a lot of water because that would actually help cancel out some of that feeling of fatigue you're having. Number three is get natural light. Seek light because what happens? Exposure to natural light, number one, will help regulate your circadian rhythm. And then the other thing is it actually does promote your mood, promotes alertness, and it's so helpful to just really helping you to be more awake. So that's something that you want to seek out. Number four is engage in physical activity. Now, I'm not asking you to run a marathon, right? Or do something that's too strenuous because there's an increased risk of injuries when you don't sleep well. So I want you to be careful. But a walk, a quick run, stretches, yoga, doing it out in the natural light, doing it outside is even better because you get both, right? You get exposure to the light and then you get that physical activity in place. So that is really, really helpful. And I would recommend that if you're going to get physical activity to boost your energy after a bad night of sleep, that you do it earlier if it's possible, but fit it in somehow. Just try to avoid doing it too close to bedtime because that may actually make it harder for you to settle down and go to sleep. Number five is the caffeine, right? You want to limit it. Although it's so tempting to just want to grab the cup of coffee the moment you roll out of bed, I'd actually recommend pausing try to be more awake naturally, right? So stepping outside, going on that walk, drinking water, getting some physical activity in before you grab coffee will actually be doing you a world of good, because what caffeine does is it literally just masks the sleepiness, right? Such that if you're not careful, sometime in the afternoon, you might actually have a caffeine crash and you feel even worse. And then the other piece is, if you're going to drink caffeine, I recommend that you have that earlier, right? Earlier in the day, not too late in the day, because it has a long half-life. So this, it stays in your system for so long that it may further fragment your sleep and make it really hard for you to sleep well. So you don't want back-to-back nights of bad sleep, and then caffeine is playing a big role as well. So, relax on the caffeine a little bit. If you're gonna have it, don't have it too late in the day. I would say after 1 p.m., really, you should be done with caffeine. Instead of that, if you start to feel that feeling of just overwhelming exhaustion and you've had a bad night of sleep, that will take me to number 6, which I would recommend is take a short nap, a power nap, doctor approved. Listen, naps are not bad at all. Naps are not the evil. All right. Napping is my way of saying I love me. It's my means of self-care. So do nap if you need to, if you've had a really rough night and you're going to make some big decisions. You're going to need to do, I don't know, take a test. You're going to have to handle heavy machinery. You're going to speak to your kids or whatever it is. If you feel like you're so drained of energy, it's okay to take that nap. Keep it short. I usually will recommend about 20 to 30 minutes, and you want to have it earlier in the day, because if you have it too late, then you are not going to have enough time to build up a sleep pressure that would help you sleep well the next night, right? So it's not about not taking naps. It's how are you taking it? So if you can nap strategically, you can make it work in your favor without depriving yourself of a good night's sleep. So those are just some 6 really helpful tips that can set you up for success despite a bad night of sleep. Now, think about it. You had one bad night. One bad night becomes a week, several weeks, a month, 3 months, 5 months, years, it might start with a bad night. And sometimes the strategies, the things we put in place will really help us determine if we're going to be set for success or if this is actually going to become insomnia. And so if you are someone who has struggled with sleep, and it's not just one bad night, but it's several bad nights. So you either feel like you're not able to get enough sleep to restore your energy, or you are getting enough sleep, but you still feel crappy, or you get into bed and your mind is racing, or the kids are keeping you up and nobody's sleeping at home, then it's time to get in touch with a professional, because number one, it might be something behavioral that we can handle, but number two, it might be a medical condition. And that's where I really want to help you think through what is going on with your sleep. Why do you feel so drained? Listen, the consequences of sleep deprivation are costly. And this is not to make you scared. This is to make you motivated to take action, to say, okay, I don't want the bad consequences. I know sleep is a superpower. How do I merge the two? And that's where Restful Sleep MD comes in. So I want you to schedule a call with me. It's a free consult call. We'll talk through what's going on. We'll talk through what's going on with your sleep, your child's sleep, and then we can address it. I would love it again if you share this video to help me get the word out there. Subscribe to my channel. And until next time, I hope you rest well.